Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Kicking It With, where I'm going to be chopping it up. I'm going to be chopping it up with none other than Carl McIntosh, the man, the legend, loose ends, my man. Carl, how you doing, buddy?
I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm good. I'm good. How about you, Conrad?
I'm good, man. I'm very good. It's good to see you. I'm so glad that you staying safe and you're looking well.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
it's great.
You
So
too.
so how have you been occupying yourself during this quarantine? Because you're definitely talented. You're a musical genius as far as I'm concerned. So I know you've been in the lab cooking up some stuff. Talk to me, man.
Yeah, I definitely have been. Um I had writer's block from the 90s. From I think since the band broke up and we did that last record by myself, I guess I had writer's block. I just nothing I did seemed to work. But I kept on pursuing and trying different ideas. And over the years, they just built up, all the ideas. And
Yeah.
then I think it was 2019, I was in a coma. Um, I, I was at church and this girl caught cold. And she seemed fine when we was at the pulpit, but as soon as she got in the back of the car, she started coughing and sneezing,
Mm.
and then I caught what seemed to be like an ordinary cold, but it was no ordinary cold because when I got to hospital, they put me in a coma, and they
Wow.
said that my lungs had collapsed, and I was next thing I knew, I woke up in this dream, and it was like it was death. It was basically like kind of mad dream, very, very bad. Anyway, when I came out of that, it's like I came out through music as well,
Yeah.
because how they do it, they switch off the machine and hopefully your body kicks in. But my body didn't kick in at first; it didn't kick in twice. But then
Oh.
there was this girl that I used to date, and she was the head nurse
Mhm.
in the coma dream, and she was like, "You can't even sing something. Go ahead and sing something with my name in it." So I was like, with the pipes and everything down my throat, I was trying to, sing, put her name in it and stuff. And she was not impressed. She was looking at her nails and doing her hair, and it was just really bad. But on the outside, the doctors were saying that, that we're going to switch it off last time. And if he doesn't make it this time, then, we have to say goodbye to him. But when
Wow.
they came to switch it off, basically, when they came to switch the machine off, I was singing
No.
very quietly, in the coma. I was because I'm having this whole different thing going on in my head, and I'm trying to impress this lady that I can actually sing. And so the guy came to switch off the machine, and he listened. He said, "Hey, is this guy singing? Because if he's singing, he's using his lungs. That's a
Yeah.
great thing. So go ahead and switch off the machine." And so switch off the machine, and voila, I'm back. So when I come back now, it's like all of these ideas that I'd been doing since the 90s, all these failed ideas. Suddenly, I saw what they needed, where I went wrong. I
Oh.
was enlightened. Right? So, if you can imagine nearly 30 years of ideas that suddenly the element where you lost interest or you put down the idea, suddenly you hear the idea again and you say, I know what that needs. It was like every single one. I know what this needs. I know I have to fix that. I know I have to fix this. And yeah, so that's how it came to me. I didn't have enough time to get it all done because I had so much creativity as well because I had new music as well. So the first thing I did, I um I got my little MPC. I
Mhm.
don't know if you can
Yeah.
see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
And what happened was um I I think I came into this room and I started to build new songs, right?
Yeah.
So I'm building these tunes and they're coming out one after the other. I think at one point I was on Instagram and I was just putting my ideas down and people were rapping to it. And it just went crazy for about 3 months. I was coming up with two new songs a day. And so
Wow.
this creativity was, yes, it was back. And I swear it's like money. It's for a musician, it's bigger than money because you know that you have whatever it's like your sword,
Yeah.
and it was brilliant. So then COVID happened,
Yeah.
and then COVID was almost like a blessing in terms of being locked down because that gave me the time to really space everything out and get organized
Yeah.
because it's I have a home studio, and I don't know if you've talked to any other producers or because I know you're in the industry
Yeah.
as well. It's like running a studio without the engineer and the tape op. And if you're a musician based producer, programmer, all this stuff, and what happens is you end up doing everything,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it takes a long time. Sometimes because the ears of another person isn't in the room with you. When another ears is in the room that you respect,
Yeah.
you can cancel things straight away, and you can make a go decision on things straight away. But when it's
Absolutely.
you, it could be brilliant, but you're thinking, maybe I could do
Mm.
it better. You can disappear like basically in circles for hours.
Yeah.
So,
I think I need some accordion on this.
yeah. Oh, listen, my friends will tell you I'm terrible for that. They'll ask me to do a few drops and I'll be putting together a symphony. I just need a radio drop, man. Anyway, so yeah, so the COVID thing, it helped me to space it all out and get it kind of organized. And so these ideas are at the moment they're flowing. I kind of
Yeah.
got the album done. It's
Okay.
just a matter of yeah, it's just a matter of there's a couple of verses needed on some songs. Like I have a few collaborations.
Okay.
One is with Junior Giscombe, and we wrote a
Junior.
yeah. And Junior's like we kind of fell out when we did the
The
what
collective.
was the collective? Yeah, me and him did fall out, but I love it. But he cussed me out. But I love Judah. That's the one straight up guy.
Yeah.
But while we were writing, he this guy's phenomenal. He can just come up with lyrics and melody and on the spot. So we had this song called "From the Get Go," and that song. In fact, I was working on it just before I connected, and the song is just when you hear it, you'll love it. It's a typical jazz funk, which is really what I'm doing at the moment. I haven't really deviated from that.
Yeah.
I do love jazz funk, and you know, it's what I do. With the beats as well, and a little bit of the reggae, in the bass line and stuff. But yeah, so I'm working with Junior throughout all of this, and hopefully Donny will come. I'd love for Omar to put something on it as well. That'd be
Okay.
wicked.
That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. You
Yeah,
guys
because
back at it again.
yeah, it for my album, because it didn't work out. Didn't work out for me and them, right? But for me, I think it can work. I
Yeah.
can work with some Donny and some Omar and especially Junior. I love them guys.
Right.
And Noah McCoy also, that guy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Guy's voice he can move you,
Yeah.
he can move you. And I
All of
love
you
that.
guys are just talents. I mean, in your own right. And I
Right,
love how
right.
you guys appreciate each other. I think that's a beautiful
Yeah.
thing.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it's a bit of a rat race out here because there's like, wow, there's so little of us left. So the gigs, we're all sort of going for the same gigs.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
all kind of so I wish it was more of a scene going on in England.
Yeah.
At the moment, it's just a couple of guys, on the black side. I mean, on the white side or the pop side, there's a lot. There's a lot of activity for them, but
Yeah.
for us, it's one and
And we're
two little
losing
shows in London.
and we're losing
Go ahead.
venues too, especially now that COVID has come. I mean, we've lost the hideaway. It's actually becoming more concentrated in a smaller scene now.
Yeah,
So when we come out of this,
yeah.
it's going to be a little different. You guys are really going to be
Mm,
scrambling
I
for the
know.
same position.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what's going to happen. We need more. I'm not sure how this works, but I know the club scene. You need a full house for the club scene, and older folks, especially in the cold, we don't really go out that much. So,
No, sir.
um, you know, we would stay in the warm, you know. When
Ain't that,
the youngsters, they love going out, but they're not really listening to our music. So it looks like it might be an international thing where I'm doing a few shows in South Africa, and I know Omar goes out there.
yeah,
Maybe Donny and Junior, they could ride that as well. You know, it'd be
yeah.
wicked because I know they'd love Junior in South Africa.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Um, and there's a few European things as well going on,
yeah.
but
There's
in London, but
Netherlands and all of that kind of stuff. They love
yeah,
soul
oh yeah,
music and
yeah,
funk music and stuff
yeah,
in the Netherlands. They're
absolutely.
dedicated, you know. So there's a little bit of stuff going on outside of
Mm.
the country, definitely. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. Also, there's America as well for this album. It's probably gonna hit in the States as well.
I
So
believe it will.
that's gonna be interesting. That's gonna be interesting. I mean, you know, I love it. The American market. I've always made music for America also, and I
Yeah,
think probably that was one of our downfalls that we didn't make enough. No, it wasn't a downfall. We made music from the heart, and I
yeah.
guess different markets picked up on it. You
I
know,
think America just embraced what you were doing, and
mm,
primarily because it was so different from what everybody in America was doing. And
right?
that's probably what got people's attention, you know?
Yeah, and I think we were trying to copy Americans. Really, we were kids, you know,
Yeah.
but we had something that we didn't realize. You know, I think that little reggae thing, the little it makes it a little bit different, and you can hear it in rappers that come from the West Indies. They
Yeah,
they swing a little differently.
they do. They got
Uh,
mad swag.
yeah, it's a different thing. I think our music, Soul to Soul's music, Karen Wheeler, Jazzy B,
Hmm.
you know, Junior Giscombe, Omar. There's that Indian thing going on,
Oh yeah.
which makes it a little bit different. So even though when we say we're trying to do American music, I think it's because American music is in everyone's record boxes, and especially in the 60s and 70s, that's
Yeah.
what we all listened to.
Yeah.
But when we did it, it had something else. So I think I'm trying to keep that in this album.
Good. That's good to
Absolutely.
hear. That's good to
Yeah.
hear. So we've touched a little bit on what you're doing now, and I'm really excited. And I hope you hold a little listening party, and you don't forget to invite me because I'd love to hear it when you finish it.
Wow.
I've,
Listening party. I can't wait. I can't wait. It's been
Absolutely.
a long time.
I know. I know. There
Mm,
was a few months ago, you had done a
mm,
few posts, and they were very interesting, very engaging. And I've read
right.
those posts. And what I wanted to ask you was, are you at some point planning on writing a book about the
Yes.
loose ends experience, whatever you experienced while in loose ends, and some of the
Yeah.
things you guys went through?
Oh, exactly. And I think the book might even be called the Loose Ends Experience because I had to change my name to the Loose Ends Experience for 10 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had this, it was just crazy what happened after Loose Ends. During the Pete Rock years, we had this coming together of the band, but it was it was kind of fake coming together. It was like I was working with Pete and Jane. We kind of came together to do something for Pete,
Hmm.
and it was fine. But what happened next was on the video, um, they flew Steve out, and Steve, I didn't even know he was going to be there, and it was one of those really awkward situations where
Mm.
the brother lives around the corner, yeah, from me, right? He's never come and knocked on my door, right? And
Wow.
then here I am in LA, and suddenly he's there, like, hi. And you know, it was like it was this kind of act that we was doing, and it was we were cordial, and we were. I was like, okay, cool. Well, let's just do this then. And we got excited and we got together and we made some music even, but it
Yeah.
didn't really kick off. Yeah, I don't think I had my confidence back yet either. So
Okay.
maybe that might have been one of the reasons on my part. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that no one wasn't pulling their weight or doing their thing. It was just maybe not the right time. Certain things wasn't in place yet.
Okay.
So what it was is that a lot of people at the time still love Jane and Steve. Right, there's
Hmm.
a lot of love for Jane and
Oh
Steve,
yeah, of course.
but then they left. So because they left and I continued on my own, there's a that sort of love for Jane and Steve kind of got muddled up with the band had broken up, right?
Yeah.
So when Pete called and said, I want to work with you guys, right? He actually said, it was Jane that said that Pete wants to work with me. Right? He said, Pete, he wants to do something with you.
Uh-huh.
And then I kind of only got the whole picture when I got to New York and Jane was there. I was like, oh,
Okay.
wicked. Are we going to do this together? All right, okay. Because me and Jane, we love writing together.
Yeah.
But then I didn't know that it was supposed to be the reunion. Okay. So then when Pete said later on that, it was he wanted to bring the group back together again,
Yeah.
which, hey, that is wicked. But here's the thing, the group was never broken up. It was that Jane and Steve had left. So if he wanted to bring the band back together again, just call me and say, listen, Jane and Steve want to come back. We'll be
Yeah.
like, come on. No problem. I live at number, what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Don't
But
run this big whole thing where we got to fly to LA to make the band work, you
right,
know?
exactly. Come on now. You know where I live. I'm living in the same place. I actually bought the house to be close to Steve, right?
Wow.
Because I come from East London,
Yeah.
and I actually when it was time to buy houses, um, I went and bought a house around the corner from Steve.
Wow.
That's the brotherly love I have for Steve.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
love the guy. When we started out doing loose ends, Steve was the absolute dapper Dan, good looking. Man, no, I mean this guy for real. This guy I think he had about 14 A levels, a degree in music and drama, could play
Wow.
trumpet, could play keys,
Mm-hmm.
was hot looking. Like this guy would turn up in suede pants and suede boots. We were 19 and I was like, who's this guy? He, what? No, for real. If it was me, Luce's probably, if it was down to me and Virgin spoke to me at first, they
Mm-hmm.
probably wouldn't have given us a deal. That wouldn't have happened. It would have been like, nah, we don't like this guy. I was rough. I was from Hackney, but Steve was refined. He was,
Suave.
he was John Blaze, man. This guy was wicked. One time we had a meeting and Steve had just, I think we just signed a deal, and Steve was on his way on a world tour with the Jam,
Mm-hmm.
and we're kids, so we're like, "Wow, Steve!" He said, "Yeah, I'm going on this tour. We're having this meeting in a barber shop." All right, Steve is getting his hair cut like the mafia.
No.
Man is cutting his hair, and Steve's like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna be back on the 15th, and then I'll go out again for 2 days. We're gonna do Singapore." And we're sitting there having this meeting, and other people are looking at us like, who are these guys? And I'm like, I'm with him. I'm with him.
I'm with the
I mean,
Don.
we'd be in, yeah, I'd be in the club talking to Steve, and a girl would just walk up and write her number out. Like he's
Wow.
not talking to her, he's not looking at her. She'd come from out of nowhere and just write her number out and say, "There you go, give me a call." Wow, what is this? He had that.
Next
Um,
level. Next level.
yeah, gosh, man, that guy is serious. So from that, I don't know why I started talking about Steve. I think Steve was, oh yeah, definitely Steve. He had that thing, that made us work, and he
Yeah.
he could
Yeah.
um he could flex with the record companies, and he could go like have drinks with the record company, come back, tell you, yeah, we're gonna put out this album, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and he
Oh,
really
wow.
was the guy, you know. But yeah, so where so I actually got so into that guy there, like You know,
Yeah.
I admired him, and we were making this music. It was all going. The what must have happened though is that when he got back and we started to write our songs for Loose Ends, they were coming out very jazzy because Steve writes. He doesn't quite write for a vocalist or for a
Yeah.
band. He'll sit down and do a whole like a beautiful piece, but
Hmm.
it'll almost be too complete, you know, for you to jump on it.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
like it'd be like a Joe Sample record, you know.
Mm.
And so what was good about working together was if when we worked together, we wouldn't do too much.
Yeah.
And so he'd just do the chords and then I'll do the rest. And then it kind of opens up so that Jane can fit in.
Okay.
But
Okay. Yeah.
but while we were first working together, I guess as kids, we weren't working that out yet. We were just going in and putting our ideas down. And what must have happened is when we got to the album and my ideas started to come out now, like you choose me and you tell me what you want and da nine nine
Yeah.
nine. You know, that's more like you're leaning into my areas
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And these things and those songs actually are what I just mentioned. They were written before. Well, the idea of those songs in an acoustic sense was
Okay.
written before I got in both as group. But in order to gain success, you have to get your record played on Radio One. But Radio One, because Radio One is the only national radio station in the British Isles.
Yeah.
And so if Radio One plays your record goes up the chart because that many more people are hearing it.
That's right.
But they don't play black music. They don't play funk jazz. All right. So we, uh, it's messed up our head a little bit because
Yeah.
what are we doing? Are we making records for an airplay, someone's playlist,
Yeah.
right? Or are we making funk jazz music? What are we doing here?
Hmm.
So that kind of messed us up a bit. And this is where my songs, which were not really funk jazz, they were sort of soul,
Yeah.
more kind of on the
They were more
soul
solely.
side.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the female vocals could jump on it. So it kind of started to, this is where I started to come more to the front. It was more like regular chords, you know, not too jazzy. And that started to develop with Steve's jazziness. And, you know, it would just kind of, it, it, we weren't so jazzy. We was more now making music for pop music, if you
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Down 999 came out
Yeah.
like a soulful pop song,
It
kind
really
of
was. It really
happy.
was.
Yeah, right. So this kind of happened. I did know some of my jazz as well. So like the intro, them chords, they were all kind of them 11ths that we're playing. That was I could match him, you know, when I'm ready with my ear, where he could do theory, you know, I could match him with my ear, so I could add my bits, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I did move my house eventually closer to be with Steve, but it didn't work out. And when I got my house, I don't know what happened. It was like they just didn't come to the studio. And then after that, that's when the serious times began because I started then to make music with all the bits in it,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
I'm playing the keys.
Hmm.
If you didn't turn up to the studio, that is kind of what would happen.
Yeah.
I'd be playing the keys, I'll be playing the guitar, I'll be playing the drum pattern, that'd be me. And it kind of, I think it kind of weirded them out a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. It
They
was.
were
They
like, oh,
probably
hang
kind
on.
of felt like they were being cut out, but they weren't being cut out.
No, I mean, I was waiting, you know. And if I'm waiting, I mean, I think the first time it happened was with the it wasn't so much in the beginning. In the beginning, it was all at the studio on time. But when we got to the point where it was 5 years later,
Yeah.
and we were getting a little more tired of it, and I think it was the Real Chucky Boo album,
Hmm.
like the medley that I was in the studio on my own, and what ended up happening was I made that medley,
Hmm.
like almost completely on my own. And when Steve turned up, it was must have been about 11 o'clock at night, and I was furious with him. And then I said, press play, right? And Jane was there as well. She came late as well. But
Yeah.
she came about 9:30. He came about 11, and we were about to be kicked out of the studio.
Hmm.
And for the which was a song called Tomorrow, followed by a song called Mr. Bachelor, and
Yep.
into another song called um Just Gotta Have Some More or something like that. And I remember seeing their faces. They were sort of weirded out a little bit, like, oh my God, we got to get rid of this guy. This guy, he's gonna break us up. I think I thought it would be, yes, all we got to do is do your vocal, and I've saved the day. But
Yeah.
when you're young, you get it right. And then it would have been much better. Steve, all right, let me come and play some keys. And then there was another situation with Slow Down. I didn't like this Dora album when we were making it. I didn't like the album
Yeah.
because it was a transformation from analog to digital. And as we were making it, there was programming with synclaviers, and that was very odd for me. Didn't like all that
Yeah.
stuff. I like to just play
Yeah.
the part in, and it records it. But the synclavier, it took a little while. It was some big fridge looking thing. And we had programmers. It was crazy. But in the end, I made so much noise with Nick Martinelli.
Yeah.
He allowed me to do, well, us to do one song. I didn't like the album, and so I went and wrote some more songs. And one was Gonna Make You Mine. One was Slow Down. Slow Down was a reggae song, actually. It was a dub song.
Was it?
And Nikki heard, yeah, I made it as a little reggae song. I was thinking more about Carol Thompson at the time when I
Yeah.
wrote that song. But when Nikki heard it, he just said, that ain't no reggae. This is the weird understanding that Americans have, especially white Americans have, of reggae music. They
Yeah.
just hear it differently.
Mm.
And he said, go back and do it with a Roland 808. And let me hear what you come up with. And so that night I went back to the apartment and just dragged all the equipment into, I think, a little cloakroom, made my own studio. It was
Mm.
out in the front room, but because when you have girls and stuff, they want to come home from the studio and they want to watch TV and stuff. That used to get my nerves. I want to come home to work.
Yeah.
All right. So I dragged everything. Eventually I had enough. I dragged everything into the little room and built the beat with the 808 on it. And I think no one was coming, no one was helping me. I was surprised with that. I was like, wow. And then I started to say, slow down. I started to sing the hook. I got as
Yeah.
far as the hook now, right? And no one's helping me. And then I said, cause I can see your feet, or something like that.
Yeah.
And someone said, I can't take the heat. They started to scream from other rooms. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I put it in and it worked. So then they started to turn up one by one. Steve said, let me put this little organ thing in there. And then
Okay.
Jane, yeah. So then, it was kind of cool in the end, but that was like the beginning. And then it was the Chucky Boo thing. And then eventually it was the end where I moved my house to be next to
Yeah.
Steve. And then they just didn't turn up when I built the room.
Oh,
So that's really how the whole thing ended. But it
no.
was all, we was young, and maybe Steve thought that that was an end. I don't know. I really don't know. But all I know is that the Pete Rock thing happened, and it was like we were suddenly back together again. And so it was just cordial. It was like
Yeah.
being with your exes. I'm sitting in LA and I'm loving it. I'm like, cool, let's just see if we can do something.
Oh man.
None of the songs, yeah, none of the songs really happened, but it was good playing with Steve and Jane again. I love that.
Oh
But
man.
shortly after that, me and Jane, yeah, Jane did me something really weird. So I mean, it was like, I thought I was helping her, because she I did a few shows as Loose Ends. I was still Loose Ends on my own,
Yeah. Yeah.
because the little collaboration didn't really quite work.
Yeah.
But
Because
I called
didn't they
Jane to do
leave?
a show in
Didn't they?
Atlanta.
Carl, sorry, didn't they leave and left you with the name Loose Ends? They just didn't want to be a part of it anymore, so you had to be Loose Ends, didn't you?
Sorry, I lost the connection.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
No, I
the
was saying,
connection's going a bit funny.
no, I was saying, didn't they
Yeah,
just
yeah,
leave and end up giving you the name because they left the group and left you with the name? So you had to be Loose Ends, didn't you?
that's right. And I had the last album of a 5 album deal. I did it on my own in this room. It was like, so basically, the debt that we had at Virgin, that album helped to polish that off, because
Oh,
it
okay.
didn't take no flights to America. It didn't take no, Nick Martinelli, or it didn't take, it was just done cheaply, really.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's not as good quality, I've been told, but if it moves people and people can relate to it, then that's all you need really when you're making music. But so the whole thing with the connection's unstable, it's saying there. Okay, it's gone. Yeah, so the whole thing with Jane and Steve, I was on my own, and I tell you, I really missed them as well. So I thought we were going to get back together again, but then
yeah.
Jane, she kind of went on. She went on her own. She did 4 years of reunion tour on her own. How do you do that? Like, what is this? Yeah, and they registered the name, and right in the middle of me trying to help her, she did that to me. So
Oh,
that
wow.
was kind of like, whoa, what can we can do? Right in the middle of it, she introduced me to some people, and they turned out to be lawyers and managers, and
Are you
people that would
kidding?
help it. Yeah, they came
Wow.
across like friends, and then it was all done a little bit shady. Really, it's a really shady thing going on with the Jane and the LA lot. But the musicians are friends of mine still, and I get along with most of them. I
Yeah,
don't know all of them, but yeah, it's a shame that that went that way, and it took the sales out of me, took the wind out of my sails, and I really I had to go under the name of the Loose Ends Experience. So it was like I was writing a book, and then I thought, hang on a minute, this book, I can't write this book yet because the drama is still going on. Yeah, and so this drama might be better than the first dramas. In fact, I think it is. Imagine you're trying to help someone, and then they register the name of the band. Yeah, it's like, wow, okay, all right,
wow.
so I guess you don't need me. Yeah, and they put a guy there singing my parts. They even did covers of their own song
Oh,
as loose ends. Yeah, it's
no.
just crazy.
Oh, that's bananas.
Yeah, crazy stuff was going on. But then, as I said, it's a little bit like we're at the bottom of the barrel with this type of music that we're doing. We don't really get much support, so I think maybe it was just they just needed money. People need to survive and eat.
Yeah, yeah,
But I've always said the door is always open with me. I love Jane, love Steve, and for some reason, I think when Jane saw me on Soul Train, maybe
yeah.
she thought, this guy, how did he end up? How did I end up watching him doing loose ends? I could see it in her face. She was
Yeah.
right in front of me, in the crowd, and
Wow.
yeah, that was crazy, man. And I'm trying not to look. I'm like, gosh, Jane is in the crowd. Then she was backstage staring at the singers.
Mm, I bet that was
She didn't
really
have to say
weird.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a strange vibe, man. So, but I was like, why did you leave? What is the problem?
Exactly.
No one hasn't answered me yet. I have not got an answer to that. So hopefully I will one day.
Yeah.
And it'd be really good for them to jump on this record that I'm doing because I still got room. There's still, if you want to do some tracks, still some room. Come on, Jane. Come on, Steve. There's still something
Exactly.
we could do. I
Yeah.
mean, look, one thing about the coma, it taught me that, I mean, once you've gone through that, you really, realize that life is short. And
Oh yeah.
in fact, Jane was one of the first people that I spoke to when I came back from the hospital. She
Mm.
was right there, championing me. And I was
Oh
like,
wow.
wow, Jane, so I thought she felt the same way. But when I broached the idea of doing some music together, she
Yeah.
kind of freezed up on me a little bit.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she was like, taking a week to answer, one, and then the answer would be yes. Like, okay.
You got
Then
all
I was,
frosty.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
So, I just had to, I pursued it, but she don't want to know. So I'm good though. I'm
well,
good.
you know what?
I got what it takes.
You've
I
tried.
can
You
make it do what it do.
yeah, yeah, you make it do what it do. You put the olive branch out there. That's all you can do, and just focus on
Yeah.
making sure that
Yeah.
people like myself and all of your adoring fans get the new album as soon as possible. Because that's really what the world needs is some more Carl
Yeah.
McIntosh, man. Carl, I want to thank you for giving
Definitely.
me some time here today on Kicking It With. I've really
Thank you.
enjoyed it. I really appreciate you.
Thank
And
you, Kun.
look,
Yeah.
you guys, as soon as the album is ready to come out, and after Call lets me into this private listening session, I'll let y'all
Yes.
know what you missing out on.
Definitely.
Thanks
All
a lot,
right,
Call.
Kun. Look
Appreciate it,
out for
buddy.
me.
All right, I
Take
got
care.
you. Bless.
Bye. Bye.